Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at Air Soft Clipper, a brand new plugin in the MPC format, and is also an audio unit, VST, etc., etc. It is a paid plugin, so you do have to shell out some cash for this plugin if you are interested in it. And honestly, this is going to be a pretty short video because I just want to show what it does specifically, because on first blush, you could be like, what's going on with it exactly? Which was my reaction, actually. I wanted to give you some visual representation of what's actually happening with the soft clipping. So let's get to it. So to start out, we have a mini D instance here, and it is initialized. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a triangle first. So this first oscillator, I'm gonna drop it an octave, and then I'm gonna change the shape all the way down to triangle. And as you can see on the oscilloscope, got our mini D triangle going right there. I'm actually going to increase the gain here, so we have a nice, relatively hot signal coming in. Now if we go to the cutoff, we can sweep this down and get a nice sine wave. And there you go. Now if we want to just let this ring out for basically, feels like close to forever, we can increase this release up to 3600 seconds, which is basically an hour. So now we have this sine wave, right? So now that that's set up, let's go and set up the Air Soft Clipper. Now, if we take it off, we can see it doesn't really do much to the oscilloscope at the moment. I'm also going to drop this post level here pretty considerably, so I can then increase the drive. Actually, I guess I'll drop that maybe about like so. So we have a relatively similar output here. Yeah, great. So now we can look at the shape as we increase this. So if you look at the actual shape in this plugin, you have three options here: tan H, which I'm not really sure, tangent or something like that. We have sine and parabolic. So they all do different things, but it can be a little difficult to pick up on with things like drums and all that. So I thought it would be a lot easier to just visualize it with the oscilloscope. Then you can decide for yourself whether or not you think putting some money in this plugin is actually worth it in the long run. So with the drive, increase this so we can start seeing it activate. And right there is a good representation of what this is doing at 866 drive. It's gonna be different for you depending on whatever signal's coming in. That will define how much you need, but it goes really up there, like I think 10,000. In fact, let's just do that real quick. Yeah, it goes all the way up to 10,000 drive. And as you can see, it's basically a square wave at this point. Cool. Let's bring this back down to about 800 or so. Yeah, and then if we switch from tan to sine, you'll see the curves change. Then from sine to parabolic, you'll see it changes a little bit more. Now if I increase this on parabolic and then go through the shapes, so now we're on sine and then tan. Again, they're all pretty similar, but different for sure. Tan definitely seems to be the most like soft in terms of these edges right here. And then sine and parabolic are pretty close to each other. In fact, let's drop this down. So this is parabolic with a more softer drive. And then sine definitely sounds like it takes out more harmonics, just out of the signal. And you can kind of see that with the spectrum here. Parabolic, you got more harmonics in the spectrum. Sine, you know, removes several octaves right there. Then if you go tan, it's just different harmonics essentially at that point. So you can kind of decide if that's something that's useful to your soft clipping needs out there. Now it doesn't stop there because the release changes things pretty dramatically. Well, so let's turn up the drive a bit. Let's engage release. And then if you look at the shape now, it's very different. So without release and then with. Now if I drop this time down, it almost gets rid of it. You can see the end slope changes with the release being activated. So that's kind of your sign that like things are subtly shifting in this. So if I increase the release a bit, you'll see we start getting some different shapes with this. So if I play this, let me take off the plugin. Plugin back on. Let's turn up the drive now. So that's 10,000. Let's change the shape now. Sine. So when it's maxed out like 10,000 drive, you don't really see much difference right here. Very little. Well, let's go back to sine and drop the drive down. maybe right about here, as you can see. Interesting how C3, you pretty much don't have any soft clipping happening until you get down to C2. And that just could be like a oscillator levels coming from Mini-D. Let's actually switch this around. So if we go to these different shapes, you can see how it subtly gets affected by the release. So if I increase the release all the way and then increase the drive, it seems to affect it pretty dramatically. And if I drop the shape down to tan and sine, not much changes right there. Some nice harmonics. And honestly, that's kind of the tour of the plugin right there. Now you might be curious as to whether or not you can already get these shapes without the distortion models in the software of the MPC. And I checked them out and it turns out you cannot. So I'll show you. So if we go to something like my favorite, actually, Air Tube Drive right here, I'll show you what this does on the oscilloscope. So if we increase the drive of Air Tube Drive, maybe increase the headroom a little, or increase the saturation, you can see what it does to this. So maybe drive around 70 or so, you can see. So that's Air Tube Drive. It ships with your MPC, it's free. Let's switch that to the soft clipper so you can see. Let's bring the drive up to about, let's get rid of the release. Bring the drive to about 800 or so. Maybe put this at parabolic so we can hear the difference. Here's Air Tube Drive and Air Soft Clipper. Different tones, you know? And honestly, I can't really say what would be better for you because I don't know. If this is something that is even mildly interesting in terms of what distortions you can have, then it's probably worth paying the money, you know? So here's Air Distortion, and you have a few models here. You have wrap, you've got soft, you've got hard. So it starts with hard, and as you can see, the shape is definitely very different from what you'd get. So if I drop the drive all the way down, I think I have to change the threshold here. Yeah, if I change the threshold of the clipping, you can see this changes. Let's go back to drive. You can see it just cuts off an angle here to give you this type of sound. Now let's go to soft and then increase the drive. This gets more towards that Air Tube Drive, which you already have, obviously. Okay. And then wrap is like wave folding. So you have like a wave folder built in with this distortion model right here. So really, you get to kind of pick and choose what you think is most useful to you. I'd say it's all useful in terms of production and what you need. You know, how useful is it gonna be if you're just gumming up some drums? Price-wise, I think it's 20 to launch and then 30 bucks after the intro price or something like that. So it's not terribly expensive, and you do get to use it on your DAW as well, because you get a VST and audio unit. But there's a lot of free options out there already. And the main question for me would be, can you hear a substantial difference that you'd want to actually use in your production inside your MPC? Because I think that's where, for me, the real value is that it gets baked into your MPC for any of your productions. So if you're doing some standalone stuff and you want to throw Airsoft Clipper on something to get some tone and texture, you're good to go. Is it better, though, than Air Tube Drive? I mean, Air Tube Drive, to me, gets the job done almost all the time. But hey, maybe you have a completely different experience. Maybe you could see it being very valuable for certain sounds. And if you do, let me know. Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. As always, I think it's cool that we have more options inside the MPC platform, because I'm a big fan of the platform itself growing. Because if you bought like an MPC X like 6 or 7 years ago, then you technically have access to this plugin, although you have to pay money for it, you know? So there's kind of this trade-off with, if they keep expanding the platform, technically they have to pay engineers for that. However, something like a soft clipper, I personally think falls more along the lines of something that should be free or with the MPC software. That's my own opinion, obviously. And again, Akai has no influence what I get to say here. So my personal thoughts is, I feel like it should have been a free plugin. And to me, it is a free plugin because they technically sent me a code. But for you, is it worth dropping the 20 or 30 bucks to have it in your system? I can't decide that for you. It's up to you. But anyways, if you were to download this plugin and throw it on some drums, you'd probably go, what is actually different between the stuff that's happening? And with the oscilloscope, now you know exactly what's happening to the signal. So hopefully this was useful to you. If you enjoyed it, a like, subscribe, drop a comment, all that stuff. It helps out with the algorithm. And I do have an affiliate link for this plugin if you are planning on picking it up as well. So if you happen to do that and you like this video and you enjoyed the content, then using my affiliate link below helps out with the channel. And that goes with anything from a new MPC to other synthesizers and all that. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time for another one. Peace.